Big show for you today. ESPN's Field Yates is going to join us to talk Cowboys draft and a story he broke about Myles Garrett's contract. Did he just become tradable? It's going to be quite a show. We got all the things you need about your Cowboys, and it starts meow. Welcome into the DLLS Cowboys podcast. It is a big day for us today. As the greatest producer on planet Earth, John booked Field Yates. I tried by tweeting him while on lots of Codone, what I thought was a fine compliment. Thought I'd get him booked for the show.
You were begging on Twitter like a commoner. You're a commoner.
He never responded to me.
Because you're a commoner.
And then John texted me about an hour later and said, hey, I booked Field Yates. Stop being a weirdo. Yeah. So we got Field. It's going to be on the show today.
I actually did not see Jeff's tweet until after I had already.
I saw it. I saw him. Baby, he was begging to Jane too. He was like like a commoner.
Well, no, like, Jane, I can book Jane. I can just text Jane.
Right.
I'm just having fun on
Clarence
Twitter.
Can't book Jane, apparently.
I'm just having fun on Twitter. Do we want Jane tomorrow? I'll do what you can't. I'll get us Jane Slater tomorrow. No problem. Watch me work.
That's not happening.
Watch me work.
That's my girl. That's not happening.
Yeah, Field, we technically talked to him like 45 minutes ago. It's already recorded. So our next segment, the second segment of the show, you'll get all the Cowboys draft stuff, and we're going to play part of it for you here in just a second, because he also broke a story today about a little, like, people do stuff with their contracts in the NFL all the time. And it's usually to make cap space for your team to sign more players now and push money back to the future. The Myles Garrett one's a little tricky, Clarence, but what everybody seems to be taking from it is Myles Garrett was not tradable yesterday. Myles Garrett is tradable today. So here is Field Yates.
He's tradable today. And why it's important to us?
Because you think you're going to trade for Myles Garrett.
Because he's a local kid. He grew up in Arlington, went to Texas A&M. And you know what? Since the Cowboys got rid of the person that should be named, they got a hold of that position.
Yep. Are the Cowboys about to trade for Myles Garrett? Here's Field Yates from ESPN.
They did something with Garrett's money. Does that mean he's tradable?
So, I think we'll spell it out a little bit here, is Myles Garrett and the Browns are like the Eagles and a handful of other teams that rely on, and not to get total cap nerd on you guys, these option bonuses that once they are exercised, the player is guaranteed that, and some of them are already guaranteed, but that cash is due by the team that picks up the option, not by a team that subsequently could trade for the player after the option bonus is exercised. Myles was due, his bonus was due yesterday, Wednesday. It's fully guaranteed. So for him, he doesn't really care whether it's exercised 2 weeks ago, yesterday, 3 weeks from now.
Unless he wants to buy a boat tomorrow, he might want to buy a boat.
He seems to be doing okay on the cash front. But the Browns modified the deal by moving the option bonus back until the end of August. It's 7 days before the regular season opener, which of course is subject to a little bit of change each year depending on how the calendar shakes out. Let's call it end of August, early September. The Browns have been steadfast in their stance. They're not trading Myles Garrett, and that's not the only benefit to doing this. It doesn't just make him more tradable. There's some ways in which it creates flexibility for Cleveland going forward. This is always one of the busier teams in terms of tinkering with the cap. They have a very, very, very rich owner, so they can afford to pay a lot of cash to players up front now to reduce their cap hits as much as possible. So that's the Browns side of this. That's the Browns sort of side of this equation. Other NFL teams, they're doing their sort of cap homework. Their eyebrows are, of course, going to be raised when they see a maneuver like this, because if you're a team that is potentially in the business of acquiring a player like Myles Garrett, if that option bonus was exercised yesterday, just speaking practically, the door was largely closed, or basically closed, on Myles Garrett being traded in 2026. The door is open now. Cleveland is still going to tell everybody who calls, no way. It just was something that caught the attention of people around the NFL, even though I truly don't believe, and this is not a stance that I think is going to vary between now and the NFL draft, now and after the NFL draft. I don't believe the Browns have any plans whatsoever to trade Myles Garrett. I don't think they will. Other teams just interpreted this move as he is now more movable if Cleveland's stance ever changed.
All right, and you'll hear the rest of what we did with Field Yates here in just a few minutes as we talked about 15 minutes with him on Cowboys draft stuff. Clarence tried to derail my draft talk with the big story because Field Yates did break that story about the Myles contract, and Clarence is trying to trade for him. So we're going to have Myles Garrett soon.
I'm trying to help the Cowboys win.
I hear you.
We're trying to help the Cowboys win. If there's, it's funny because
it better be funny.
Yesterday, you like, the Cowboys was trying to get Max Crosby, and he's not even as good as Micah Parsons.
Yeah.
Well, you can't say that about Myles Garrett.
No, I can't.
Myles Garrett is over here. He's up here.
Yeah.
He's above Micah Parsons.
He goes
Forgive me, Micah Parsons
Myles,
and the family.
Micah, Max, and whoever else.
I'm just saying. He's up here. And if you're going to trade 2 first-round picks, it's an option. That's who I'm going for.
Wouldn't it be hilarious if it was like this contract move was actually because Jerry Jones real sneakily was like, hey, if you get that contract right, I'll trade you this and this. It would be hilarious and amazing. I think there's zero chance, but how cool would it be if like we had to do an emergency pod because Myles Garrett got traded?
Hilarious?
It would be awesome.
It would be glorious.
Be so
glorious.
But then what am I going to do during the draft? We're not going to get to draft anybody.
You got that's what kills me about you damn draft guys, okay? You just want to draft. It's a damn video game like somebody in the war. They want to play video games.
No, I'm not.
You kill me. You're drafting to get a Myles Garrett. You're drafting to get a Micah Parsons. So the fact that you got that guy here, you're mad because you can't draft a guy who you hope can become that guy.
I'm not mad. I'm just saying on draft day, I'm going to be bored. And I like to draft.
Give us a damn if you're bored. We're here working for the Cowboy fans.
You're right.
We're here trying to end a 30-year drought.
You're right.
And you over here worried about being bored.
There's no chance, though. It's not happening. It's not going to be a Cowboy. Field said he's not going to be traded, probably.
They say, but he also said the door is more open now than it was before. And what is the old adage? You miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yep, that's true. That's why when I play pickup, I fire from half court.
You got to shoot the shot.
Yep. Solid Duck said, Chill's talking like Jeff's across the room and forgot his hearing aids. Other news of the day before we get to Field and all the Cowboys draft talk that we have with him. The other news of the day is, where is the Cowboys contingent? Because you've got all of the inside the state pro days going on for the draft prospects. And so today, where are the Dallas Cowboys hanging out?
Well, the Cowboys are doing this Texas,
Texas tree step?
It used to be Texas two-step, right? Yeah. That's the dance, two-step. You're a country boy, right? You listen to country music. Have you done a two-step?
I can two-step, yeah.
You can two-step?
Yes.
You can't grow up in Texas. I can two-step. I can do the Texas two-step, okay?
Now, are you a 1-1-2 or a 2-1 or are you a half-stepper? I'm just a 2-1 guy. I'm just left, right, and then we'll spin a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
one of them. But I'm saying, so it's Texas two-step, but the Cowboys are turning to a three-step. Texas on Tuesday, A&M on Wednesday, Lubbock on Thursday. They went to Aggie, and as long as I'm going to say Sand Aggie.
What?
Aggie and Sand Aggie.
What is that? Oh, Sand Aggie is Lubbock?
Yes.
Lubbock is also the place where
Sand Aggie.
When I was in Abilene, you had two choices on the weekend because you weren't staying in Abilene.
Right.
Go to Stephenville, where Tarleton is, or go to Lubbock if you like to have a good time. But if you're a freshman at Abilene, you had to have somebody call and fake being your parent for you to be allowed to leave on the weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Listen.
It's crazy.
Texas Tech is a party school. Ain't but two things to do with Tech. Drink and that.
Yeah. Grab that Raider rash for a second. Williams in the super chat. Williams said, preach, Chill, preach. Myles will be a Cowboy. I like that.
We hope he will. I mean, you didn't call Derrick Henry. At least make the phone call.
No
At least try.
There's no way. But anyway, back to Texas Tech. There's no way. But please do. Jerry, I dare you. I bet you won't. Hit the like button while you're here, please. It's good for us. We'd appreciate it.
Let me shout out my boy George Carter, Eta Theta, my home chapter where I was pledged. My anniversary was yesterday. We talked about that. 42 years in the fold.
Yep.
Appreciate it, George.
Shout out to a guy named Raz who Jesse Holly texted us that he had a Jeff moment. Wherever he's on vacation right now, and he wouldn't tell us where, a guy named Raz saw him and said, Jesse, do the Mr. Fourth and Long.
And his girlfriend.
And his girlfriend was like, he watches you all the time. So shout out to that
He
guy.
loves you guys. Do the 4th and Long. So tell us about the prospects at Tech. You know, we know about the top 2 prospects, but they got more than 2.
Yeah,
everybody just talks about 2.
So David Bailey is obviously the best prospect at Texas Tech. He's my guy that in a world where most people are projecting the top 3 in the draft will be Fernando Mendoza, and then at 2 and 3, you're seeing a lot of Arvell, Resse, Ohio State, and you're seeing a lot of David Bailey. I have seen a couple of mock drafts where it's Rueben, Bain, and Arvell, Resse instead, or Arvell, Resse, and Francis Maui Noah. And I just want to be on record. If David Bailey found his way to pick 6, 7, 8, I hope the Cowboys make a phone call because I think he's the perfect fit for what you're missing. Maybe he's not a polished and perfect run defender, but he's a full-size, twitched-up, get-to-the-quarterback fast guy. David Bailey, if you had a shot at him, if he slid down to 6 to 8, go get him. He probably won't be a Cowboy. He'll probably be a top 5 pick. Good chance he's a top 3 pick. Jacob Rodriguez, we've talked about a bunch. I think 20 is early for any non-Sonny Styles linebacker. I'd love to have Sonny Styles. Without Sonny Styles, I think there's so much depth to the linebacker group that at 20, I think you're too early to be picking one of those guys. But if Jacob Rodriguez ended up on your team, I'd be like, sweet, he's a really good player. But that's not all they got either. I'll go through an order of people maybe knowing their names. You remember the Texas Tech defense was awesome, and they were awesome on the defensive line. Romello Height is the other pass rusher that nobody really talks about now that we're getting into draft season. And I don't know where he's going to be drafted because he's going to be more of a – David Bailey's 250-something pounds. Romello Height's like 230. Mm-hmm. And so, like, he is an undersized – you're really not going to ask him to line up out there and be like, all right, here comes the run play and it's coming at you. Get extended on an offensive tackle and stack him and shed him and do all that. What you're going to ask him to do is, hey, it's 3rd and 8. Go have fun. Like, he's going to be a pass rusher, what some would call a DPR, designated pass rusher. He's going to go out there and go chase quarterbacks. And so maybe he makes it to the Cowboys' 3rd-round pick. Maybe. And then they also have Lee Hunter, who is their nose tackle, their defensive tackle, who I think is a 2nd or 3rd-round player. Cowboys probably don't have a pick in the range to get him. I don't know that he'll make it to their 3rd-round pick. And so a lot of the Tech guys, I think, come into play if they move around in the draft. If there's some trade downs, if you find your way to a 3rd-round pick. Because they also have 2 wide receivers. I think Reggie Virgil is nice, and then they have Caleb Douglas. And I think both of those guys are probably day 3 guys, rounds 4 through 7. But they got dudes at Texas Tech. And I know Brandon Jordan's out there.
Yeah, I was going to say BT Jordan's out there. So the Cowboys have had this contingent led by the triumvirate of Will McClay, Shoddy, and CP, Christian Parker.
Yeah.
Well, for the trip to Tech, they've added one more. And it's their pass rush specialist, BT.
Maybe it's looking at Romello Height. Or maybe they are checking out if David Bailey could make his way down. Either way, sounds good to me. Smash the like button while you're here. Make sure you're subscribed to the DLLS Sports YouTube channel. Coming up next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast, Field Yates from ESPN talking all things Cowboys draft. Let's get it next. AirDNA is the leader in data on short-term rentals, and they just released a free calculator to see how much you can make renting your home out for the World Cup. Occupancy's up 200+% already for the group stage matches. We're still months out. Available rates people are charging is 2 to 3 times more than what they were charging last year. Dallas has the most matches of any city, 9 of them, including a semifinals match. So if there's something you'd like to do around the house, I don't know, remodel a bathroom. I'm trying to get a rain shower, build a new patio. You want to go on vacation? It's a once-in-a-lifetime tourism event that's driving this demand. So do not sit on the sidelines, okay? Over 5 million fans are going to attend a game. Hosts' earnings expected to reach nearly $212 million. So think about the new patio, season tickets, a vacation. Go to the World Cup and stay with a friend while you rent out your house. Whatever you do with the money, you just got to see how much you can make, and you can do that by heading over to airdna.co/cowboys. Also want to talk about our friends at Prize Picks. Shoot your shot on Prize Picks. Get $50 instantly in lineups when you play your first $5. That's right, Prize Picks is now giving you $50 in lineups when you sign up and play your first $5. Prize Picks makes every dunk, every dime, every board that much more exciting. Don't miss this chance to get started on America's #1 app for sports picks. Prize Picks, simple to play. You just pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections. And if you get those picks right, you can cash in. And a new feature, Prize Picks now has early payouts. Your player gets off to a hot start. You now have the option to go ahead and cash out those winnings before the game even finishes. So join millions of users and sign up for America's #1 sports picks app. Download the Prize Picks app today. You use the code DLLS, you're going to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code DLLS to get $50 in lineups after you play that first $5 lineup. That's our friends at Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right, DLLS Cowboys podcast peoples, we are now joined by a very special guest who I love very much with all of my heart. I actually tweeted him to try to get him on the show. I don't think he saw it. I had a knee replaced 2 weeks ago, and I am high at all times on an assortment of products. But John got him booked.
You were begging on Twitter like the common folks.
Yeah,
I was a commoner.
I was begging, but
Commoner.
I'm gonna pretend it paid off, even though John got him. Field Yates from ESPN, first draft with Field and Mel Kiper. You can see on ESPN2 Monday through Friday, and it's a show that I enjoy. I hit the record button. Field, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you.
I'm glad to be on. Hope the knee is feeling better. That's no joke now with that was it a full knee replacement?
Full replacement at the age of 41, baby.
You know what? That was my second question, Jeff. Unfortunately, it was going to be like, aren't you like 25 years too young to be having this done? But I'm glad that it's fixed.
He's an old man.
I was this close to the NFL, and that's how you jack up a knee. I was that close.
I just keep on going.
I got a question.
You have a question off the bat?
Yeah.
You want to go first?
This is not really first.
Go ahead, Clarence.
It's a preamble.
Okay. Ask Field a question.
We do some things on this show, and in honor of my friend Jesse Holly, Mr. Fourth and Long, we need to know, and our people in the chat need to know.
Yeah, it's true.
Are you raw dogging under that shirt?
Yeah, always.
Yeah. You got to breathe.
Come on now.
You got to be able to breathe.
I actually don't own undershirts.
What?
So, true story.
Me neither.
Don't own them. No.
Me neither.
So
not
hoodie,
in the closet.
whatever you are, you just always raw dogging.
Yeah, I have about sorry for the shameless plug, probably 30 Rowback hoodies. And they're thin enough that I go hoodie over bearskin. That's how I roll. Yeah. And unfortunately, I live in Connecticut. It's cold like 90% of the year. So we get a lot of hoodie weather. And then a lot of hoodie weather with a parka and a fleece and an igloo surrounding you as well. But yeah, I never, no undershirts, not for me.
That's awesome. And he just,
in cold, was that okay?
It was fine. In cold weather with a thin hoodie, you're gonna have full tipple display the whole time. Field, the beauty of draft season is when one of the badasses in the draft community, such as yourself, releases a mock draft, it becomes an entire days of content for everybody who does sports, radio, podcast, whatever. And I think it's awesome. We just generate content out of content we generated, and it's a lot of fun. And so I have to just go to who you had the Cowboys pick in your 2-round mock draft. And at number 12, it was Jermod McCoy, the Tennessee corner who didn't play this year, ACL from last year. His pro day is coming up in 5 days. My question about Jermod McCoy is, so many people have an opinion. Is it possible to even have an opinion until 5 days from now at his pro day?
Not a complete opinion, because you're right. I mean, this is a player who the last time we saw him play a meaningful snap of football, if my math is correct now, that would be 15 months ago, basically. We've had drafts where we have not seen players play, most notably the COVID year draft, where guys like Jamar Chase and Micah Parsons, guys who did not need to play much during or at all in their final college football season and still go extremely high. And Micah, of course, and Jamar, of course, have become incredibly successful NFL players. This is a unique circumstance, though, because ACLs are not run of the mill, I would say, for the average human, but they are probably getting closer to it for athletes. And this isn't to say that I expected Jermod McCoy to play this past season. To me, it would have been understandable if he did not play at all this past season. I do think, though, that until we see a player workout, even if it's not a full football workout, you're going to reserve some level of, I wouldn't call it doubt, but hesitation on using a premium pick on a player who does need to be sort of twitchy and athletic and agile and be able to change directions like these cornerbacks do. So I've said for a while now that the biggest pro day on the calendar is March 31st in Tennessee, because if he goes out there and he looks like himself, and there was recently some video that I saw emerge on Twitter first, it may have been elsewhere. If he looks like himself, then I think he's got a real shot to be a top 12 pick, maybe even the first corner taken in this year's draft class. But if there is any hesitation or doubt leaving that pro day next Tuesday, then I don't know how a team could justify making a significant investment in a player if he's still not fully right 14 months post-surgery.
And for the Cowboys' second first-round pick at number 20, you had R. Mason Thomas out of the University of Oklahoma. It's the first time I had seen him mocked to the Cowboys, but I do love the prospect on tape. How do you work your way through trying to predict? It's such a deep but strange edge rusher class. Yeah. So how do you work your way through how early you think each guy goes that isn't named Arvell Resse, if you count him? Yeah. I mean, Rueben Bain, you could also move around a lot, and David Bailey. But when you get beyond those three, how tough is it to try to place where you think guys might go?
Yeah, I feel really good about those three guys going in the first 10 selections. And then from there, it is kind of all over the map. I think that the R. Mason Thomas pick may be as much or close to as much as any of the selections in the back half of the first round exemplified why I kind of like the chaos this draft brings to the table. My guess is people would say that's too rich. Some people would say that's too rich for R. Mason Thomas. There are other guys who play the same position that others prefer, whether it's a Zion Young from Missouri who I had going 25th. Keldrick Falk's a polarizing prospect. There's a lot of upside from the Auburn defensive end. Some people are big fans of TJ Parker from Clemson, who had kind of a disappointing final season, but was great as a true freshman and sophomore. There are a lot of other names that I think people would have considered if the board fell the same way that mine did, picks 1 through 19. I'm just a big fan of R. Mason Thomas's game. He ran sort of a disappointing, not super disappointing, but I thought a 4.67 was going to be closer to maybe 4.60 or 4.57 for R. Mason Thomas at the combine, but 15 and a half sacks over the past 2 seasons. And the way he gets there is, to me, what matters the most. He's got these big, heavy hands. He's got a really good first step. He's kind of a natural born rusher who can bend as well. But what I like is that there's no concession as a run defender. He is a relentless run defender as well. I thought that his game against Alabama, against Caden Proctor, who I'm a big fan of as well, the offensive tackle, is 352 pounds. And R. Mason Thomas, like, that felt like a boxing match between those two players in the college football playoff. And that was not long after Thomas came back from an injury that cost him a handful of games there in the middle of the season. So there are lots of plays that sell you on a prospect, but that game made me feel really good about R. Mason Thomas being a guy that I think deserves to go in the first 32 picks. And if something 20 is too rich, that's the 2026 NFL draft. It's very hard to find consensus on things beyond, just a couple of players at the very top of their board at specific positions.
It's Field Yates from ESPN, one of the finest, let's just say the finest draft analyst in all the land, and Clarence wasted 3 of our minutes on non-draft stuff.
What are you talking about? They need a pass rusher. They need a pass rusher. 2 first-round picks. If somebody trades 2 first-round picks, is that not draft-related for Myles Garrett?
Our arguments happen in other segments. This one's about Field. Are the Cowboys in the first round of this draft, assuming they pick at 12 and 20, is there any way they pick an offensive player, and are there names you could think of at those spots? And if they can't pick an offensive player, how much does that speak to the failures of the front office to be prepared to draft?
Yeah, so I would say that I haven't put much stock into the idea of the Cowboys addressing offense in the first round. The only way in which I think that becomes a reality, and you guys would have a much better grip on whether this is plausible or not, is if George Pickens is truly a tag and trade player more so than a tag and extend player. Publicly, the Joneses have talked about him being a guy they want to keep around for a while. Everybody watching or listen to this right now understands why it's a difficult deal to get done on a multi-year extension. So I've truthfully, I don't think in any of my mocks have I given the Cowboys an offensive player. I suppose if I were to do so, maybe it would be like if a left tackle fell in a certain way. And, I don't know exactly where they're at right now on Tyler Guyton, who's been kind of up and down so far in his career. Maybe Tyler Smith just anchors left tackle spot going forward, but he's so good as a guard, obviously, as well. So that would be maybe the position I would consider. Wide receiver, if Pickens was actually going to be traded. But I fully expect these two picks to be on defense. And, they have 12 and 20, which gives them some flexibility as well. If they do want to move up a little bit from 12 because the board is starting to fall a certain way, I don't think it would come at the cost of pick 20. But given that you have two premium picks, you just have more cards to play to potentially maneuver the board.
I mean, you brought it up. You said it. What makes the Pickens deal hard? What makes it difficult?
Yeah, so I mean, this would be my guess is, CeeDee Lamb makes $34.5 million a year. Is that right? Yeah. So right now that puts him fourth amongst wide receivers behind now Jackson Smith and Jigba, Jamar Chase, and Justin Jefferson. I don't think the Cowboys have shied away from who they believe is their wide receiver one, even though Pickens led them in major receiving categories last season, while CD was dealing with that high ankle sprain suffered back in week 3 against the Bears. If you get a Pickens deal done at $37 million per year, what does CeeDee Lamb do? Does he come in the next day and say 37.5? Or I'm, and I get it. There's not a lot of recourse for CD. He can't default. He can't not show up to work. He could cost himself some money. But I do think it's if you say CeeDee Lamb is your wide receiver one, and then you pay somebody else as your wide receiver one, does that give CD the right to come back in and say, all right, hey, make me the new highest paid wide receiver? Does that in turn make George Pickens happy? Does that embolden other players on the roster to say, CD got a new deal? Was that last offseason, 2 off seasons ago? Not long ago. Do I have the right to come back in and just say, hey, I know that I got my deal done 2 years ago. Give me more money now. I want players deserve to get paid what they are worth, but I understand from a team perspective how these negotiations have trickle-down effects that sometimes make them easier than I think we perceive them to be on the outside. Second team All-Pro wide receiver in the prime of his career age-wise, pay him a bunch of money and move on. There's just more nuance to it than I think sort of the casual observer or fan would think goes into a George Pickens negotiation.
Field, last one for you. Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles.
Yeah.
3 months ago, watching them, or maybe 2 months ago on tape, were already my dream picks at 12. And as the process has gone along, it's been like, maybe not. Are you on the same page that I'm a positional value guy? A safety and an off-ball linebacker. Normally, that would not be a guy I would be campaigning for in the top 12. But in this draft, they seem so complete. And a lot of the guys at the position, my confidence in hitting on those two is so high that I would take them over other positions. They're my dream at 12. Can I have them? Is there any chance I could get one of them at 12? I
feel 100% certain Sonny Styles won't be there. I feel 99. Man.
Oh, no.
I should probably couch both of these. I feel 95% certain on Sonny Styles and 90% certain on Caleb Downs. I've done a lot of sort of digging around the NFL and with various folks in different positions and different, I think, sort of football roster philosophies. Coaches tend to be a little bit more get me the great player, right? They're less concerned about positional value and contracts and second contracts and things like that. GMs from a conventional scouting background, I think, are mindful of positional value, but sometimes can't just it's hard to bypass a great player. Usually front office people that come from a more analytical background or have a salary cap expertise are a little bit more of positional value is so important to us. Why draft a running back in the top 5 picks and pay him $10 million per year when you can get Kenneth Walker III coming off of a Super Bowl MVP for $13 million per year? Meanwhile, top pass catchers and pass rushers are making $40+ million per year. This is a long-winded way of getting to the point, which is that this draft, I've found, I don't know about a consensus, but an overwhelming majority of people that have said, Field, in a different year, I might tell you otherwise. This is the draft where you don't horse around with it. you take the best players because this just isn't a super deep class with blue chip prospects, which means Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, Jeremiah Love are all going to go extremely high. 2 years ago, we had a scenario where Brock Bowers, who might have been the highest grade on a board for teams, just based not positionally, not factoring in positional value, but just the highest pure grade, went 13th because there were 6 quarterbacks, 3 receivers, 2 offensive tackles that all went ahead of him. It's a different year this year, so I think those guys are just going to keep right where they have been throughout the process, which is somewhere in the top 5 to 8 range.
Field, I lied. We kept you too long, and we're still keeping you too long and I'm going to butcher the clock on the show because we have a wheel. I'm going to put it on 3 names. You tell me, would you take him at 12, you would take him at 20, or you would pass at both. Ready?
Yep. Sweet. Yep.
I'm going to spin it real light so it goes faster.
Okay.
Caleb Downs would be 12, obviously.
Yeah. Take. Easy. Yes. 12. Yep.
Mansour Delane.
Oh, God. 20. But
Wow.
I would take him at 12. Yes. Oh, I thought you were saying I get to use it once. Like
you can say 12. You can say 12.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
right.
12. Absolutely. 12.
Third name, Colton Hood. 12, 20 or pass.
Pass here. Yeah.
Not worth the 20th
pick.
pick. All right, Phil, we appreciate you. Sorry we kept you too long. Your work is phenomenal. People can catch you on TV. They can catch you on Twitter. They can catch you on podcasts. They can catch you everywhere. And you have yourself a great day. Thank you so much.
Keep on raw dogging.
I appreciate you.
Yep, dogging under the shirt.
No undershirts, never.
Coming up next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast, we'll react to some of the stuff we got from Field. We'll get you everything you need to know about your team, obviously. That's next. Hello, friends. What a great time for you to sign up to be a diehard. Welcome to baseball season. We got brand new merch. I love the white and blue and red, the DLLS. That cap right there. Oh, that's a good one. Opening day, you got to look good. I love those hoodies, too. So get yourself hooked up. Head on over to our merch store. If you're already a diehard, you get discounts on our merch. And if you're not a diehard, go ahead and get yourself signed up. You get to pick a free t-shirt and you get discounts on other merch. So we're getting excited. We got new seasons upon us. We got our baseball team about to go whoop everybody. Let's go Rangers. Get yourself geared up real proper like. And we still got a discount going on being a diehard, $36 for your first year. So go ahead, get you some Rangers merch, get yourself signed up to be a diehard.
If you love the NFL Draft, then this is your edge. The Die Hard NFL Draft Guide is built and based off of thousands of hours of film study, being boots on the ground, Shrine Bowl, Senior Bowl, Combine, talking to scouts, talking to coaches, really getting a feel for where these players are best going to fit and project in the NFL. And we're talking hundreds of players in this class.
Cowboy fans, you got to have access to Fran Duffy's Die Hard Draft Guide because he knows exactly what the Cowboys are looking for and has in-depth scouting reports on everybody that can help this team. So help yourself and be informed about the NFL Draft. Make sure you got Fran's Draft Guide.
All right, so what are you going to find in the guide? Well, you're going to find player comps. You're going to find strengths, weaknesses, physical tools, analytics, highlights, analysis from all across the space, everything you need to try and determine who are the best players for your team. You get access to the guide if you're a diehard, and you'll also get access to a couple of individual breakdowns I'm doing specifically for your team. All right, look, if you want surface level breakdowns, you can get them anywhere, but if you want independent thought, if you want thorough breakdowns on all of these prospects, become a diehard, get the guide. Or you can get access to the 2026 guide for just $26. Let's win draft season.
All right, we appreciate Field Yates joining us on the DLS Cowboys podcast. We appreciate you if you hit the like button while you're here and if you interact with us in the chat. Somebody said he knows how the wheel works, so he watches, won't bluff me. Yeah, because I was going to let him just do it however, but he was trying to follow the original rules of the wheel. So right. Field Yates, obviously a DLS Cowboys listener.
And you brought up the chat. And before we get to Field Yates,
but
we got to react to somebody in the chat.
Okay, who's in the chat?
Somebody named Jesse Holly is in the chat. We don't know where he's at, but he's in the chat. He's asking about raw dogging and hey guys.
Oh yeah, we asked him. Yeah,
he wondered, did we ask him about? Of course we did, Jesse.
We have a brand.
We know this show.
Yeah, we have a brand to protect. Let's hit the super chats as well. Let's make sure we're caught up on super chats as we cruise through the show. We appreciate everybody who is in there. Lunatic Jerry from the Emmy-nominated documentary would do the trade. Not today's Jerry, especially with Catboy standing there. DC.
Let him know, Lunatic.
Yeah, and that's referencing the Myles Garrett. His contract got redone today a little bit. They made some alterations, which do make him tradable. but will they trade him? Who knows? Roman Wolf Gaming, whose knee is better, Jeff's or McCoy's?
Go with the younger man. Always go with the younger man. Go with the younger man.
I would say mine is better. It doesn't mean I could play in the NFL.
Your knee is not better.
How can you be better than perfect? Mine is built of alloy, metal.
Nobody's getting ready to make you a first-round pick. No one was ever going to make you a first-round pick. No one's ever going to make you a seventh-round pick.
They will at Pick Up Sand Volleyball in 5 months when I'm back. I will be a first-round pick in that. True Texan is in the super chat. If we draft a great wide receiver, CGP for a player pick, trading George Pickens. I'm not trying to do it, but I am not a fan of what they're about to do, or at least what I'm pretty sure they're about to do, which is have him play on the tag, because that does not give you the best chance to build a team. You want to bring that cap number down in year one if you want to compete. You want to bring his number down in year 1 and year 2 if you want to compete to win a Super Bowl, but they're just going to have him play on the tag, and I know it. But
that sounds good.
Yeah, it does sound good.
Do they really need to bring the cap number down?
If you want to compete with the teams who are really trying to win the Super Bowl, that's what they would do.
I mean, but what you tell me I'm playing on the tag as it is right now.
Right.
What can't they do? What can't they do? What can't they go out and get?
I'd have to see their exact numbers on the salary cap right now, but
can they still go and add people right now? They
can add some people.
Yeah.
Not as many as I want. You go add whoever you want. If you bring Pickens from 27 to 12, $15 million lets you sign a $40 million player in year 1 if you want to.
They still can't go out and maneuver.
But they're not going
contract. They're not going to. But even with Pickens as is, they can't go and.
Let me take a peek. I'm going to look at their cap. Cowboys right now have about $14 million in cap space, which again is enough to sign literally any player in the NFL. You could sign a $40 million player with $14 million in cap space.
They could trade for Myles Garrett.
I don't know if they could afford that.
Well, of course, they can bring him in here and then tell him to adjust his contract.
You just push stuff back.
Yeah, it's Myles Garrett. It's Myles freaking Garrett.
Maybe. Yeah, they can do some stuff. I just want to do all the stuff. I want to do all the stuff and then go win the Super Bowl. Somebody said, is everybody sure Garrett is 30? He looks older. Does Garrett have a little Greg Oden to him? Does he have a little
Garrett is a big dude.
Aged face?
He's a grown-ass man is what he looks like. He looks like a grown-ass man. He's always looked like a grown-ass man, if that makes any sense to you. He looks younger than Clowney, who looks like he's 40.
He looks youthful. He looks good. I think he looks good.
Can we ask him about Phil Yates' teeth?
I touched that up a little bit, though.
Can we ask him about Phil Yates' teeth?
What about them? They're nice. They got good teeth. You think they're weird?
They look weird. They look like what's the comedian?
Can't help you there.
Yeah, the comedian that was in Ace Ventura.
You can't.
Ace Ventura. Jesus. What's his name?
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, it looks like when he does a farmer man. You remember the?
I have to note what time Clarence dropped an F-bomb on the show.
Yeah,
I didn't say F-bomb.
You absolutely did.
When
you couldn't think of the name.
15 seconds ago.
You absolutely did.
I'm sorry. I did. It's been a long time.
Weak sizzle.
We're due for one.
I want to see if a manager.
No manager. Why are you trying to snitch? We got snitches. Snitches in the building. He's snitching on me already.
John will be back in after he
Jim
talks.
Jim Carrey, fire. He looks like fire. You see when John, he says the same thing. He looks like fire.
You can't do it.
What'd I do?
You can't do what you did.
The door's still open. What happened?
You can't.
It was an accident. I don't know. Why is he snitching?
This is our general manager behind us.
I didn't do it.
Ben's in here.
I didn't do it. I didn't do it.
You didn't do it?
I didn't hear it. No.
See? Teammate. Teammate.
I didn't hear it.
Teammate.
Yeah. You see
John, we better than this, man.
Do you see how I tell the truth on the air, but I lie to the boss for you?
That's what you're supposed to do.
Yeah, I did that.
That's what friends do.
I did that for you.
Take it to the grave, John.
We got another super chat.
Take it to the grave. You said it.
That's fine. But you went out and snitched
into a microphone.
It was an accident.
We got another super chat. Let me hit it, John. Weak sizzle. If you guys had to guess who's this year's Nick Emanuel coming out of the draft, who would it be? Kind of hybrid floating nickel guy. Ooh, Emanuel was weird because he was so big with that athleticism. Let me pull up my draft board and see if anybody jumps out. It's a big guy that can still do that. Well, I guess it's Emanual McNeil-Warren. Toledo is that guy, runs a 4.5. Emanual was faster than that. But plays deep safety, steps down in the box, can play the edge. It's Emanual McNeil-Warren, who I think is a potential pick for the Cowboys at 20. That's the guy that people would hope could be that.
Getting back to field, it doesn't seem like he likes Colton Hood as much as you like Colton Hood.
He does not like Colton Hood as much as I like Colton Hood. Tennessee corner, I would take him at 20, and I think that would be okay. It would be even better if you traded down and picked him somewhere in the later 20s, but I'd take him at 20.
And he also doesn't like Keldrick Falk as much as Fran.
Fran loves Keldrick Falk.
We know that. That's Fran's boy.
I'm scared of Keldrick Falk, too, because the guys who don't have – let me get his official stats. If you don't have backfield production as a rush guy in college, thinking that's just going to come along in the NFL, I think that's tough. He had 7 sacks in 2024, but 2 last year. That's tough for me as a top 20 pick. Like, I think the only reason he would be a top 20 pick is because of what people thought he was going to be before the college football season started, but then he wasn't. I think people thought he was going to go from being a 7-sack guy to, as a junior, being a 12-sack guy, and now you're that dude, and he just wasn't that dude. Yeah. Anthony's in the super chat. Chill acting like Shaggy. It wasn't me. Hashtag Sweargate.
I didn't. I swear it was so
like Glittergate all over again.
Yeah, it is.
There was no glitter on me. There was not glitter on me.
You're right. There wasn't. No, there wasn't. You're right.
And I didn't know I said it.
We lied.
It must have been so easy out of my mouth.
Yeah, it was. It was real easy. It was almost a whisper. Roman Wolf Gaming says in the super chat, Keldrick Falk is Taco Charlton 2.0.
Now, we're not gonna do Keldrick Falk like that.
I mean,
but one thing about Keldrick Falk, he's smaller than I thought. I thought it was bigger.
What is he? He's like 260 or 265?
Yeah, I thought it was bigger.
Now you're going to make me do all this
stuff.
He's
265, 270.
Okay, yeah.
I thought it was bigger.
And he's like 6'6"?
Yeah, I thought it was bigger. I'd like to see him 6'6", 290.
Oh, no, he's not that. No. That's D-tackle size.
Well,
no,
I mean,
no.
But
276. 6'5", 276.
We got one. I mean, what happened? I didn't do it.
Bobby Caralla also.
I didn't do it.
Also on team management.
I didn't do it.
In the room now. He didn't do anything.
I didn't do it.
John made that up. John made that up.
I heard you drop an F-bomb.
No,
John made that up.
Wasn't me. Who you gonna believe, me or your lying ears? Me or your lying ears?
Oh, you admitted it. Okay.
My lying ears.
Okay, you're just gonna admit it. Never mind.
I didn't do it. Clarence, I'm sorry.
Bobby, can you do me a huge favor?
I apologize.
Bobby, can you do me a huge favor? Call Law Nation. See if he can come in for the last
segment. That's my dog.
Let's go ahead and
give me your parking pass.
Let's get out in front of this suspension.
Clarence going to look like Jamal Adams trying to get into the facility tomorrow morning.
Yeah. John.
We didn't hear nothing. Jay Field is my guy. Jay Field, I was mad at you yesterday. We good today. Jay Field, I was mad at you yesterday. You tried to make me out to be something on McDonald's.
John,
we're good today.
John said, does Anthony Hill's pass rushing ability make him a top 20 pick for our scheme? Even in the nickel, he can slide inside.
Yes, he can.
The field. I don't want any of these linebackers at 20. And I like Anthony Hill.
What are you doing?
Kevin Gray is in here yelling at Clarence for.
What the hell's your problem, man?
He didn't do it. He didn't do
it. I got my teammate here.
He didn't do anything.
You did it?
He didn't. No, nobody
no one did it.
John made it up.
Yes.
It's made up. Nothing happened.
Nothing happened.
And when you go listen later and hear
I got a wife and a kid, man. I liked my stuff.
Oh, my God. I said funky. I said funky. Funk.
Yeah, he said.
I got a pool fund now, like Kavanaugh.
You got a pool?
We'll talk about it later.
Hell yeah, good for you, dude. That's amazing.
See, I got Vance on my back. I love when the chat supports me. They got my back.
Well, now they're saying you said duck.
Right.
But you said duck.
I mean,
don't worry about it.
What are you doing, Jeff?
Story appears to be changing.
Don't worry about it. I don't know. Trying to think about how Anthony Hill would fit on this team. Maybe he plays a little bit of both. Maybe he is an outside guy.
Well, he has pass rush ability. I think that's why his take this year was funky.
Yeah, because he was playing straight off ball, and that's not his best.
Right.
Maybe he could do a little bit of both. You're a nickel. He's one of your linebackers.
Dominique got my back, too.
You're in base, and he's an outside backer who's rushing and trying to hold the edge. Maybe that works. I just don't love it at 20. I need the Cowboys to have a second-round pick for a linebacker. That's what I need.
Well, my dream, and I was talking to somebody else this morning.
You drop an F-bomb in that conversation?
Yeah. Was your dream to drop an F-bomb on the air today? Was that your dream?
20 is trade back.
Dreams do come true. That would be nice.
20 is trade down, trade back.
Yeah.
I think you keep 12.
I love trade
But if
down.
you had your druthers, and I think that with the Cowboys, if they had their druthers, they would prefer to trade down to 20 because as we talked about it, the picks between maybe 15 or 18 and 35, there's not much difference, right? There's not an appreciable difference in all those guys. And, you would hopefully you want to trade back at 20.
I do want to trade back. Coming up next on the DLLS Cowboys podcast, we've got the thing that happens every year with the draft is we're just getting bored and beginning to tear down all the best players. And it's what we do every year, but we'll talk about it next. It is the perfect time to be signing up to be a diehard right now, alldlls.com. We love that you guys are here with us in the chat and watching the shows and all the things. We appreciate your guys' support. Being a diehard, boy, that is next level, and it is an absolute hookup for you right now with the discount that we got going. Fran Duffy's draft guide is such a great bonus when it comes to NFL draft season, which we are absolutely in the middle of. You want to know everything there is to know about the guys who could potentially be Dallas Cowboys. You want somewhere to follow along while the NFL draft is going on. Fran Duffy is a beast when it comes to this stuff. He's got over 300 guys in there, ranked, scouting reports, all of these things. And it comes from all the work that he has put in. It's not just watching the tape, the all-22, the film, if you will. You should trust the tape, by the way. But also going to the Shrine Bowl, being at the Senior Bowl, being at the Combine with us, and Fran having those connections in the NFL with the executives, the scouts, all those people, that all goes into the information that you're going to have about the next Dallas Cowboys that are picked in the draft. So make sure you have access to the Die Hard Draft Guide. It is so in-depth. It is so wonderful. There's so many players in there. And, so Fran's work is so good, and you need to be locked in on that draft guide. And it's the right time right now because we still have our discount going on being a diehard. Instead of $7.90 or $79.99 for your first year, $36. You get access to the draft guide, which is awesome. You get to pick a free T-shirt, and right now, go get you something that might look Ranger colory. I don't know. Go get you some of that action. Oh, what a time to be a diehard. You get discounts on events and merch. You get into our Discord with your fellow DFW Sports diehards. It's the absolute hookup, and it's happening right now. So get signed up to be a diehard. Dive into the draft guide, get you some Rangers gear, and let's have ourselves a time. Sign up to be a diehard or else not a threat. Somebody in chat said we need a Clarence punishment for him to do next show. I just tweeted out looking for a co-host tomorrow for the DLLS Cowboys podcast. As I'm sure it'll be the first day of your suspension. You left the tag on your Fabletics hat, and it's huge. And it's just sticking out the side. Yeah, it is.
It's not a tag, though.
That's the tag.
You're supposed to take this off. It's underneath. It's not a cup.
I take it off because it's huge, and it's...
Does that set off the alarm?
I
At stores if
scissor
you walk
it.
out with it.
You want to tighten it up a little bit. You want to keep it tight. You don't. Oh, there you go. Oh, okay. But now you they got the threading out. That's why I just cut it. Anyway, yeah. Cowboy, you learned who not to jaywalk with. LOL. Somebody said Maui Noah at 12, Messidor at 20, trade Steele in a third for a second, get Jacob Rodriguez. I like it. We're cooking now.
Cadence, I can't do the teapot.
Look at Daniel in the super chat with a 50.
Daniel!
Don't yell at him yet. Okay.
Thank you, Daniel.
Don't yell at him yet. Play a song. Any song.
Where legends drop.
There you go. Got $50, baby.
Breaking news, you gotta hop in club pop.
Just to help cover some of the fine for chill, Daniel said. What is that?
Fine.
Yeah, I think standard FCC fine for that is $250,000. So we should be fine.
What?
Is there something in there? Oh, okay. $200 fine for cussing on air from Micah's mom.
And who is that?
That's Micah's mom's signature, and then that's printed. It's from Micah's mom is
Micah Parsons sucks.
Right. J-Lo Mountain Lion says Clarence to the principal's office. Well, the principal just keeps coming in here. And I think about the young broadcasters who are part of DLLS and that is the example you're setting of how you conduct yourself on air. Like, what about Ron?
I love Ron.
He's a young man that's on the come.
Big Ron, I got your boy. I've been telling you I got your boy.
And now he thinks saying
Big
the F
Ron,
word.
I got your boy. Since he came here from San Antonio. Got your boy.
So anyway, other stuff.
No Oklahoma gear. I'm not wearing Oklahoma gear. Formula.
It's It's already in March, the season for tearing down the best prospects in the draft. Let me see if I have the tweet. Louis Riddick tweeted this yesterday. He said, "We're starting to reach the point where the draft can't come fast enough. Too much BS being said by the late arriving experts.
Damn.
When you check back 12 months from now, they'll all look ridiculous, and it always happens after the combine and pro days." So one of the guys we're going after now is Arvell Resse, who is likely going to be a top 3 pick. So what you're seeing here, and I encourage you to look at one at a time or you'll get dizzy. On the left is Rueben Bain doing a different drill than Arvell Resse, although the person who posted it claimed they were the same drill. You can see the bend. You can see how low he gets when he goes around a couple of the bags. Like, wah, wah, he got the bend to him, you know? And then you got Arvell Resse doing the same thing, and he runs around and just kind of slows his feet down and turns around and keeps running. So he's doing it differently. So now what we're doing is Arvell Resse can't bend. See?
So I was told that this guy has put a great impression on the young journalists here. So I was told now I can curse on there.
No.
Yeah.
No, I said fudge.
This is wrong.
And then I said funky.
And
I
then he said
fudge.
duck.
And then I said duck.
Clarence Custom. Yeah, he said the F word.
That's what I said.
And you just set a bad example for a young broadcaster, up and coming, future star, and now he's going to get fired when he drops an F-bomb on the air.
You heard of the Fonz?
The Fawn?
Yeah.
He's too young for that. He's too young for that.
God.
Happy days.
The Fonz. Ask your dad about the Fonz. He said, I apologize.
He apologized.
Okay.
He couldn't say apologize. He said,
Yeah.
I apologize. Because he would never apologize. I apologize. I'm sorry.
Okay. We okay? We're all right?
We're good.
Yeah, we're fine?
See you on the Map Show.
Yeah, check out the Map Show
He's never
right after
heard of
this.
the Fonz. How old are we?
Older than him. How old do you think Ron is? I bet he's like 24.
He's never heard of the Fonz.
How old is Ron? 25?
I think he's 25.
25? He's a youngster.
I've
so anyway.
decided I'm never dating a woman who's never used a rotary phone.
I don't know what that means. You talk about and you do the thing with the finger?
How about who's never used a
House phone.
I don't do young women.
Never had a house
I really
phone.
don't do
I can hear
older
Katya
women.
yelling from the other room about your problem. So anyway, that's the Arvell Resse video that people are going nuts about and trying to tear him down, and that's fine. He's going to be a really good player in the NFL, so I'm not worried about it. But yeah, that's a shirtless.
I know, but that
drill
looks funny, man. The way he slows his knees.
I get it.
Sorry.
You dress up, you feeling yourself.
There's Katya's in here. There's Katya's
No,
in here
I
yelling.
said fudge.
He
said,
did.
"Oh, fudge."
He did. We were talking about snacks, and he said fudge. And so, yeah, you could look at that and be like, man, Rueben Bain bends really well. And you could look at that and be like, man, Arvell Resse can't bend. Or you could just be like, I don't know if Arvell Resse
knows what he's doing.
If his goal there was to do this, he talked after his pro day about how he wants to learn to pass rush. I ain't worried about Arvell Resse. He's a super good player, but he might just be an off-ball linebacker who's a blitzer. So we might not need to worry about all this crap that people are worried about. And maybe he shouldn't be a top 3 pick. If he's a linebacker who's going to rush from there, I like Sonny Styles better as a linebacker. Maybe Arvell Resse should be the 12th pick.
The reason Arvell Resse was high was because he had the pass rush ability. That's why you had him over Sonny Styles.
Yeah.
If he can't rush the passer, what is he?
A kick-ass linebacker.
But he's not better than Sonny Styles.
I don't think so.
So he's not a better off-ball linebacker than Sonny Styles.
I don't think so. No, I think he needs to be picked 12th. I don't think that'd be good. No, his thing is that, like, when he is blitzing or whatever, it's not when he lines up on the edge and rushes. When he finds himself in a position where he can get a sack, the way that he just turns his athleticism and his power work together to finish plays and get off blocks is awesome. Like, there's awesome ability in Arvell Resse.
So he's not just an athletic guy. He's a football playing dude.
Oh, he'll hit you in the mouth too. Yeah,
football playing dude.
No, he's an awesome prospect. I would love him. I would love him at 12.
You know, and now that we're talking about Ohio State and the fact that the Cowboys only, and I love Lunda Wells. They only had Lunda Wells was leading their contingent at Ohio State for their pro day yesterday, the tight ends coach. You know, they do have a tight end.
We're looking at their tight. What is it? Max Clare or was that last year? I forget.
But with all these top of the board talent, top 10 talent, you would think they would have had their whole contingent at Ohio State. And again,
they just know they
A&M
can't
got some
have
good
them.
players, but they could have left Texas and flew to Ohio State. Why did they need to go to A&M on Wednesday? And this is not a shot at A&M, but Ohio State got these beasts.
Yeah.
And now that we're talking about Ohio State, the two beasts that everybody, Arvell Resse, Sonny Styles, there's no question about that they're beasts.
Yeah, they're good.
Not just in football playing, but they look the part.
Yeah, for sure.
Their numbers show them that that's what they are, right? Speed.
Big, strong.
Style. We saw the speed, you know. You see that. The other guy who can't miss, the safety, Caleb Downs. Can't miss prospect. One of the top. Some people, I know before the draft, you said he may be one of the 3 best players in the draft.
Yeah.
If not the best player. Okay, I don't know if everybody has an opinion now, but how good is Sonny Styles? Is he can't miss good? Is he just one of the top players in this draft good? Because I don't see, Sean Taylor, okay? I don't see Ed Reed.
Okay, so you're talking about Caleb Downs, not Sonny Styles.
I'm talking about Caleb Downs.
Okay.
Because the thing about Sonny Styles is his numbers equate to the talent. I don't know if Caleb Downs is raw numbers. Because his size is not special.
No.
His speed is not special.
No.
Okay? It doesn't necessarily equate to can't miss.
I guess technically there's no such thing as can't miss, right? Like technically anybody could bust.
You know what I'm saying.
But I think the appeal of Caleb Downs and Sonny Styles is they definitely feel can't miss. Like maybe you're not an all-pro, but compare whoever you would pick if you weren't picking them, and you'll just have way more questions about any other player that you're going to pick over those 2 guys. I don't think, like Caleb Downs is not Ed Reed, because when I think about Ed Reed, I think about center field, and I'm going to have 8 interceptions.
And take that thing back to the house.
So he's not Ed Reed. He's not Sean Taylor, because Sean Taylor hit like a dump truck. I actually think, not that I was watching football in this way back then, but I know how he played. Caleb Downs, to me, is very Darren Woodson, where the way I picture him isn't the Ed Reed free safety, but if he's playing a deep half, he can do it well. And Darren Woodson might have been a bigger thumper.
He was a much bigger thumper. Darren was a big dude. He played linebacker in college. He's still a big dude.
But Caleb Downs plays the game like a linebacker who's also a really good safety. Like he's just a missile. He sees everything right now. He's not the fastest, and he's not the strongest. And yet, he's either making the play or he's the reason the play didn't even think about coming this way so often. And it's here.
I guess the question is, has he reached his peak? Is he at his upside?
Oh, yeah, he is who he is.
He's at his peak.
I don't think there's anything to get better.
So a guy like Dylan Thieneman could actually, who has a bigger size, who has more speed, who has more athleticism, who could rise even higher. I mean, is the upside greater for some of those guys like that?
Was the upside of Darius Hayward-Bay bigger than the upside of CeeDee Lamb?
I don't know.
Because all you're doing is saying size and speed, and like size and like that, and that's fine.
But Hayward-Bay was just, he didn't have a production either.
Yeah,
so I don't think that's a fair comparison.
I will be surprised so this is where we are in draft season. Is Daniel Jeremiah in his interview on The Fan intimated, I didn't hear the exact words, I just saw what people tweeted about it, but intimated that there either are or might be teams that have Emanual McNeil-Warren and or Dylan Thieneman as ahead of Caleb Downs. And I think just saying that out loud is we just got exhausted of the best players in the draft. And so it's time to start thinking about other guys and talking about other guys. Sure, it's possible. It's possible there's a linebacker that's picked after Sonny Styles that's better than him. It's possible there's a safety that's picked after Caleb Downs that's better than him. Predicting it seems wild to me. Right. And I think we're just getting bored of the good players.
Well, I think that's what Dan O is doing with Simpson.
He's doing that with Ty Simpson, yes.
But the thing
we're
about
bored. Fernando Mendoza's going number 1, and it's been that way forever. So you just have to talk about someone else.
Right. The thing about not Sonny Styles, but Caleb Downs, I guess, is we're also talking about a position that is not of high value.
Not a premium position.
So you're taking a guy who's not a premium position, who is not necessarily breathtaking. He's not just like, he's not get off the bus, the baddest dude getting off the bus.
Unless you do what a lot of teams are doing and start saying the nickel is a premium position. Okay. It's just now getting paid. Who just got paid? McDuffie. So it's just now getting paid, but if you recognize it in that way, then you could say that is premium because I think that role has become that important. Armand's in the super chat. With teams not valuing safety that much, could you see the possibility of Caleb Downs falling to 20? I can't.
Well, he ain't falling past 12, first of all.
I don't think he'll make 12. But I don't think it's impossible. I don't think he'll fall past 12.
Right.
I don't think it's impossible he gets to 12. I don't think he'll get past 12 if he gets to 12. All right, thanks for stopping by, everybody. Smash that like button on your way out. Make sure you're subscribed and all that. We appreciate you. Remember, you have no idea what anybody's going through. Be cool to everybody. We love you. Be easy.
Peter Warrick was not fast.
We all silly like the mayor.